Okay, so welcome everyone to the Chaos Data Science Working Group meeting for July 15th. Uh, Thanks everybody for coming. As always, this meeting is under the Chaos Code of Conduct, so please be kind and respectful to each other. We have a few things on the agenda. I think a lot of them probably won't take that much time. I put together, I took a bunch of stuff that other people had sent me and put it in a blog post about the hackathon. So I just wanted, I can put this into WordPress probably tomorrow, actually. But I wanted to just make sure it's linked from the minutes. I just wanted to make sure that we're not missing anything, that I didn't miss any of the people who contributed to the materials. And in particular, Callie, since you were there and you helped Chan with the project, I think I got most of the stuff about the project from Chan. But if you have anything to add, now's the time to do that.
Yes, I will do a read over by the end of today. I've had this tab open for like a week, and every day I'm like, I'm gonna do this, and then that didn't happen. So I'll at least give it a read over. If I have anything to contribute on top of what's already been said, I will, and I'll like add a comment or something that I once I finish it.
Yeah, that would be perfect. And it's not super long, so it shouldn't take too long. But thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so project updates. Do you have anything new on the foundation stats project?
Not yet this week, but I'm going to be meeting with Ernest on Thursday and we're going to be talking about next steps on it. So I need to clean up my Apache Foundation stats so that we've got everything available. And then we can take the approach now because we've got enough exploratory analysis on it around like building it out specifically for a kind of like research report. So yeah, making progress, but more progress on Thursday.
Cool. Feel free to add more notes if you'd like. The forks and relicensing, I will admit I haven't done much on this. But I think originally Chan was and Peculiar were starting to dig into the some of the other like the project health metrics. With Chan stepping back, she's not going to do that. So I'm gonna probably work with Peculiar and start looking at some of this data. This is partly a conference-driven motivation because I'm giving a talk at the FOSSI conference in Portland at the first weekend of August on some of this data, and it would be really great to have something new. Like the stars and forks data is new, so I have that, but I would really like to have something project health related when I do this again. So I'm more motivated to start working on that again and putting something together. So so I'll just leave a note, more work coming soon. The archive data I've done nothing on this. And taxonomies, I did add the archive taxonomy to the repo. I don't know if anybody else has any updates on any of these. The taxonomies was something Sophia was driving, so I'm guessing we'll have more on that when she comes back from leave. Anything else on the projects? Okay, cool. Adrian.
Hi. Yeah, this is just something I added sort of randomly. Just it sounded like there was a need for more agenda items, but I was kind of curious, like if and maybe this is maybe this should go in a different working group, but I was just kind of curious, like has anyone noticed any like because it seems like there's all this analysis you guys are all doing with like forks and relicensing and like how does that affect how community health is measured? I'd be sort of curious, like with AI being this whole sort of fundamental shift in how like it's kind of causing all sorts of stir with like licensing of open source projects and things. like do AI projects have to be measured differently in terms of community health? Like, has anyone in CHAOSS like thought of that, or would there be a better working group to kind of think about this in?
Well, I have a little bit of knowledge around that space. So about 2 years ago, on the front page of my open source zine, I put out a set of stats around the fact that um, open source LLMs specifically, you could see an almost linear correlation between the amount of GitHub stars that it had and the bad security practices it had. So basically, the more it was utilized, the less likely it was to have a good security posture. Um, so that is just an anecdotal response to it. That is very particular to the fact that open source projects tend to be more software driven and they have cumulative merges and responses to lines of code. Open source LLMs are very much a moment in time data dump, so they should be performing differently. Um, and then second to that, which may not be part of your comment, I have seen a lot of complaints from a lot of high profile maintainers around the AI slop and the responses to their software driven open source projects, which I don't think there has been a formal study around, but I think would be interesting.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Daniel Stenberg's posts about that in curl. It's just kind of been following that as it goes. But yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that? I have to admit, I don't spend a lot. I just don't spend a lot of time thinking about AI. Frankly, it's just not my jam. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. So I don't really have anything to add. I don't know that there's actually a better working group to have these discussions in though, because we don't we don't really have working groups anymore that are focused on like looking at metrics specifically. We mostly have context working groups. So things like OSPOs, universities, UN SDGs, funding. And out of all of the context working groups, I really can't think of any others that would be more appropriate than this one. Um, the other place you could bring it up though, of course, is the Augur 8 knot meeting, because some of those folks work pretty heavily on pieces of metrics, and so there might be some people in that group that have some additional insights. Did that I'm not sure that we answered your question, but I think that's probably the best we can do at this point. Do you have any follow-ups on that?
I feel like it's probably more of just like a discussion prompt than necessarily like I didn't really
Okay.
have a particular purpose for like needing to know how to measure an AI community, but figured it might be worth like if CHAOSS is trying to be kind of these like low level tools for helping analyze stuff, like I think it might be worth starting that just so that as higher level like AI projects maybe try and be more mature and things, they might be wanting to use these tools or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I expect for this to come up more and more as more companies are shifting um, you know, to AI. Yeah, the only other place we might bring this up is in the OSPO working group, because it might be interesting to get the perspective from the open source program offices on how they're thinking about this. So we could always add it to the agenda for that.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting, and it would also be interesting to get feedback from OSPOs on how they're handling the amount of AI-driven PRs. If they're putting any statements, templates, or linters down that they're finding effective, because it absolutely represents a new contributor class. So it might be worth investigating.
Yeah. Cool. So we blew through the agenda really, really quickly. But we have loads of time. If there's anything else that people want to discuss, we can talk about really anything kind of data related, chaos related in this meeting. It doesn't have to be one of the projects or data science per se. I don't know if anybody else has any topics they'd like to talk about. Okay, well, think about that just a little bit while we do the last bit, which is just the reminders. So I am reserving. Oh, I have another reminder too. Um, So we're going to reserve the July 29th meeting for Alvin and Sahana to present their Red Hat internship 8 knot Augur projects. So we got a preview. I think it was in the last meeting 2 weeks ago about some of the stuff that they're working on, and it looked super interesting. And the internships end, I think, the first week of August. So this will give them a chance to present their final or near final projects to the rest of the team. So I'm really, really looking forward uh, to that. So that'll be our meeting in 2 weeks. And Callie, do you want to just chair that meeting? That might be easier since you're gonna be
Yeah,
involved.
I'm happy to chair that meeting.
Cool. Awesome. And then we also, because we think that breaks are important for people, we're actually taking an August meeting break with the Chaos Project. So this means that we'll cancel the meetings in August for the data science working group unless there are any strong objections. Just because we like to have a break. You can still work on stuff. We're still all going to be around on Slack. So, and in the repository. So feel free to do, pull requests with, additional data. Feel free to chat in the data science working group Slack channel, and we can all continue to do work and not be as distracted by so many meetings, which I think will be fun. Sorry, I was just waving at the gardener, waved at me as he walked by. Um, all right. So anything else that we need to chat about today?
Nope,
I
nothing
kind of
I
had a
can think of.
Yeah, I think that's good. I will also say tentatively, since we're not going to meet in August, by September, I think we can very tentatively say that we'll be ready to report on the foundation stats. So we can just have that in mind for those meetings. I think we can
Great.
get it done.
That's great. Awesome. Very cool. Okay. Well, with that, I'll give you some time back in your day to do other work. So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, everybody.